Good evening. You're listening to the Xtreme Movie Show. Tonight's episode, Xtreme TV. Tonight, Season 2, Episode 19 of Twin Peaks, the wonderful ABC TV show that we've been covering episode by episode. I'm your host, Rob. I've watched the show, but it's been 30 years. Professor Pixel's our 20-something young millennial that's never seen it, that's wanted to watch it. We've loved it. We've hated it in Season 2. A lot of it sucks. It's maddening. It makes us feel very despondent. That's what Twin Peaks does. But Pixel, one of the things that we've been talking about is how different this second season, especially in the middle towards now as they're getting down this final stretch, different than the paths that we seem to start off on. And I've mentioned before my displeasure with certain things. I've been the bad guy and you've been enjoying it. So in episode 19, we definitely get, I want to say, some confirmation of what seems to be some of these final threads that are going to happen. So we've talked about how there's been a White Lodge and a Black Lodge. We've talked about how there's a spiritual element to it. We've talked about how Major Garland Briggs seemed to have some sort of time-space thing, outer space alien abduction, anal probe thingy, whatever happened to him. And what Twin Peaks does is they introduce interesting things that makes you talk about it, but then they forget them for several episodes, and sometimes you forget them too. And I definitely think we get a little bit more of that here, but we get a sense of finality, I think, starting off with the Owl Cave going, okay, we're definitely going to be investigating something about the physical history of Twin Peaks. How does it, and all the owls that we've seen and this nature thing, how is it all related to what the hell we're talking about? Is it pertinent to the story, or is it just there to troll you? Because some people will do that. And not only Brian De Palma and Alfred Hitchcock, but certainly one of the married directors and writers we have here. So let's go ahead and talk about what happens here at the beginning. You know, we're this episode 19. We see that the gang, as it were, are basically in the cave. And we know that Wyndham Earle had already been in there. And in the cave, they find this big, they call it a petroglyph as opposed to an aeroglyph. So maybe it's just depending on what it's written on. And they're going to get it's got some kooky pictures on it made in chalk, and Cooper goes in FBI mode, seeing stuff. You get a zoom in on it. It kind of reminds us of things you see, like a mother, father, or father, or daughter, or whatever sort of figure to it. Not quite sure. Looks like Twin Peaks. Looks like maybe some hands. Yeah, it's a bunch of nonsensical stuff that a third grader could write on a chalkboard, but it does seem to kind of start with the mystery. But unfortunately, while they're looking at it, you've got a cut to Wyndham Earle babbling on some nonsense or whatever with Leo there, and some alleged surfer rocker dude with the Billy Idol forearm bands or whatever like that. That it's like, hey man, you promised me beer, some stuff if I was here. What's going on, bro? And it just totally kind of, I think, sets it off wrong. It's not funny. It's not cute. It's not hip. What's your take on this?
Well, there's something important about that, and there's something to notice. That's Ted Raimi right there, one of the Raimi brothers. You might know his brother Sam is a big director.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's Sam Raimi. Alrighty then.
Yeah, this is Ted Raimi, his brother, who appears in most of Sam's projects, but here he is on his own, as it were. And yeah, in that first scene in the cave, I really like how Dale is announcing someone's been here and has done their work for them. And Hawk is able to tell due to a footprint that there was a man in here, and they came in, and that's how Dale figures out that Wyndham Earle, he's trailing behind. But speaking of Wyndham Earle, I think listening to some of the things that he's talking about is fairly interesting.
It's interesting because it's Twin Peaks backstory that he's filling us in on. I agree with you, but him telling it's not. And it's like, how the hell did he know this stuff and nobody else mentioned it? That bugs me as a watcher. You know what I mean?
Well, I think we're supposed to wonder that, and I hope we get answers for that soon. But yeah, when he's talking about the place of great goodness, and then a place that takes that and turns it on its head, the Black Lodge. It's very interesting. And on the computer screen, we see that he, in fact, has the pictograph saved onto the screen. And something to do with that is going to help him with the Black Lodge. And we're going to have to figure that out soon. But I didn't mind the scenes, but moving on, I mind a little bit of this next scene, not because of the man Pete here, but how Catherine is treating him.
I like this scene.
Because he is muttering about Josie as he plays chess. That's when Catherine comes in, tells him to shut up, and he comes on over and sees that she's with this box. It's the box that Smith, I believe her name was, she left for Thomas Eckert.
Yep.
And she can't figure out how the heck she's supposed to open it. But Pete's like, wait a minute, I know what this is. It's a puzzle box. And he like slides the right side of the box, and suddenly it opens up and reveals another box.
It's like a Russian doll thing. I mean, what I really love about this scene, and it kills me, is Pete is one of those characters that I'm glad we didn't get a lot of, because I really, when I think about his relationship with Catherine, pisses me off that he's such a punk with her, but yet I love her performance in this role. I think she's just awesome in it. It's incredible. I think she's like the strongest one on the show, just about. And he's like, well, it doesn't even have a keyhole. And she's like, well, if I had a key, don't you think I'd open it? And she does this one look while he's babbling on, looking off to the side. She doesn't roll her eyes. She's just sitting there. It's just awesome. And, this is the Pete that we know where, excuse me, guys, I had to flip fish in a blender. He says, oh, I saw one of these in Guam, and he just rambles on and she's not listening. This is their relationship. We understand it. When we don't analyze it, it's really fun because they're not a match at all, and whatever their backstory is, obviously they're not a good match. But I like them. I thought it was a great scene, but I think an even really good scene too is the next one, where you got Bobby and Shelley. And Shelley's pretty much had enough of Bobby. She's just kind of like putting up with him for now. But Bobby's in full-on Bobby mode. They're at the diner. She's sitting there. She doesn't want to hear it. But he's got this new idea and theory, and I like it because this is what young men do, right? We get these ideas in our head of how life is supposed to work, and we see life through those lenses until we try things out. Then we try something else out, and he's talking about his latest scheme, which is beautiful people have it easy in this world. So what you need to do is enter the Miss Twin Peaks contest, right? And then we'll figure it out. And you know what? As lame as it sounds and as dopey as he's being, he's got a point, and he's like, you are very beautiful. And of course, she's lapping that stuff up. She's trying not to smile to him, but she, like most beautiful women, just loves to hear the compliment. It just depends on who she's hearing it from or whatever. But he has it all figured out, and he grabs her arm. He's being a little forceful with her, but she's kind of like, yeah. But while they're in the diner, there's a scene here, and they've done this several times, where there's like a sub scene where they just pan over, and you see, I forget her name off the top of my head, the sex vixen that was there for like an episode or two, that Lana's there with the guy that was going to shoot her, which was the brother of the mayor too. And she wants to enter into it. And he's kind of like, he's not ignoring her, but you're going, is he senile? Does he not care? Is he just happy because he had sex with her? Is it some sort of mystical spell thing having to do with Twin Peaks? But it doesn't seem to be. But it's just kind of uncomfortable for me because I don't like her. She seems like an evil woman, not Josie level, but it's like, why are we watching this? I don't know.
I agree.
She wants him to be as a judge to basically throw the thing in her favor. I'm like, yeah. What? And he's like, okay, I'll do anything.
She needs to win Miss Twin Peaks, and he can make it happen. That's what she says. But we don't care. We don't care about this brother. We don't care about Lana. It's just, it's very unfortunate that we have to go through this. But we do care about the next person.
Continuation in the diner here. I like this.
Yeah. Dale comes in and sees Annie Blackburn, which he has taken a light fancy to. And he needs coffee and donuts. And eventually he asks, he gets up the gall and he goes ahead and says, Annie, how would you like to go and take a nature study this afternoon? And she actually wants to. She's interested, especially after their their conversations over the last few episodes. And I know you're not a big fan of this romance, but I actually, it's growing on me.
Question for you.
Okay.
Heather Graham, who's playing Annie, right? And we know she's got a disturbed background, and they're definitely forcing us to be in this romance angle here. She's an actress that I don't dislike. I think she's very attractive. But every time I watch her, no matter what the movie is or what the scene is, she doesn't do a bad job, but I'm watching her going, she can't act. I'm not believing her. I feel like she's trying to act, and it comes across the screen that way. Does that make sense? I know there's a lot of actors that are famous or hot that people say, oh, they can't act, they can't do this and that. And I just go, well, am I believing what they're selling? With her, I just never can. It just feels a bit forced.
I don't take it as that. I take it more as her delivery isn't great. I don't think it's terrible, but it's just not. I think Cooper is better at delivering different ranges. The Kyle MacLachlan, is that his name?
Kyle MacLachlan, huh? Yeah, he's spot on. He's great. And
his
Shelley,
delivery,
even,
no matter
is
what
great.
he's in, it's fantastic. He can play goofy, he plays serious. He can do all the range of emotions. I think her delivery is more physical than it is verbal.
I would agree.
Because you can see the emotion on her face, but you can't hear it.
Yeah, it must be something with that. Some people are physical actors that don't talk a lot, and sometimes that's a great way of acting, using your body. It's your best tool. Some people are great using the words. Some can do both. But I popped here because it's obviously a reason for them to set up their afternoon date. But Cooper's in there actually getting coffee and donuts for the crew because they're getting ready to go out and finish their excursion. But behind her and Shelley there at the counter, there's a sign that says Hearty Beaver Broth. And I'm like, that's got to be, it's a very sexual kind of, with the two ladies there. And I don't know if that's intentional, but it's like, what? Where the hell did this come from? We're used to hot coffee and pie and that's it. But I don't know. There's definitely been some goofiness in here until we get the next scene.
Well, wait a minute. There's a little bit more to this scene that we have
we'll go right on ahead.
Because as Annie goes back for the coffee and donuts, we see Shelley. She comes to the register, and Bobby calls out from behind and says she needs to use her beauty. And she quotes part of the poem that she got from Wyndham Earle. And Dale asks where she heard that. She says that she got it on a piece of paper and a note. He asks to see it and takes it and seems a little dazed. But Annie comes back. They settle the date, but he has to go. And you can tell he's disturbed. And that leads directly into the next scene.
This is I was just gonna say I like this next scene because it's got Briggs in it, and his acting is fantastic. Deputy Dumbass is in the back. I gave him a lot more leeway than you did, and I think I was wrong in doing that. I think you're right, but they're standing in front of the blackboard that has everything drawn out, and Cooper goes into the big speech about everything that's going on. It's like, God damn it. It took us 20 friggin' episodes to have this conversation, which is frustrating to me. But I thought it was pretty neat where they actually talk about it. And then the way we've said that Garland Briggs communicates to Cooper or anybody, he's like totally different. But I'm buying what he's saying, even though he says very little. But Cooper's wanting to know about Wyndham Earle's work with the military for Project Blue Book. And, Briggs is saying, I can't really do that. It's not because I don't have access to it. There's moral judgments I have to consider. It's just the way he talks. It's really, really cool. And it adds some adult vibes to the conversation of going, wait a minute, we had two women that were violently raped and partied and killed and all that. And now we got goofy ass stuff going on. And it lost that edge with all the silliness in the second season here too. But now they're getting to the stuff of what's really behind the darkness that pervades Twin Peaks, trying to discover it somewhere. And I just think that's fantastic. And they're busy staring at the board trying to figure it out before you get some artsy fartsy black and white, shadowy figure transitioning to this owl with the stars in the background and some fires and flames and stuff. It's pretty trippy, and I like it.
So the important thing about this scene right here is that the information with Project Blue Book, it's top secret government stuff. That's
super
exactly
top secret. That's why Briggs is in a small town.
But yes, even though Briggs is at a small town, Twin Peaks is the area and one of the places where the owls are watching in the skies above, apparently. And so there's a very important line in here where he says, "Is this going to prevent loss of life? If I get you this information, will it prevent the further loss of life?" And Dale says, "Yes, absolutely." And Briggs says that then he absolutely will consider, and we'll get back to him. But I think that establishes something with Briggs that's very important. We saw, what was it, like 8 episodes ago, when the government really screwed him over after he was abducted and he came back.
Yeah.
I think that his allegiance has taken more of a turn away from the government because he believed the government was.
It's been compromised.
Exactly, it's been compromised.
Not quite a honeypot scheme, but yeah, definitely compromised. Absolutely, and that happens often.
So yeah, so if he is able to help in some way by giving this information to Dale, then he absolutely will do that. But the last bit of this scene is that a report comes in and they figure out that Leo is the one writing this poem. The piece of paper that Shelley got, it's absolutely Leo's handwriting. And but sadly, you're right about the goofy things, because that's what happens next.
Yeah, go ahead.
With Dick Tremaine.
I do like him, though. He's really weird.
I like the actor. Yeah, it's just the character can get on my nerves. He has his nose pretty much wrapped up because he was bitten by the pine weasel in the last episode. And he is asking for Audrey's help from Ben, and Ben's explaining, no, she's gone. She's gone to Seattle. So you're going to have to get help elsewhere. And as Dick's about to go away, he stops and he says, "Oh, by the way, sorry about the incident, and we'll absolutely pay for anything you need for your nose." But that's when Dick goes ahead and asks, "Well, yes, but surely there will be some workman's compensation for this." And Ben, he like says it through its teeth, "Absolutely." You can tell he wants to break from his good streak, you could say, that's on him now.
Yeah, I could care less for that, but it was just a way to interject it. Act as a transition scene for the next thing. To me, it's interesting because there's some crappy scenes in here, but there's a lot of different things, moving parts in this episode, so it really feels like it's moving. Because to me, this is where we go to the Wyndham Earle's hideout in the woods that nobody seems to know or think about. Hey, if I was Wyndham Earle, where would I hide? Even though it's there in the woods, and he's there with Leo and what did you say? Ted, whatever the hell the damn name guy, stupid idiot guy, is there, and he's kind of being in a giant paper mache object, and Wyndham Earle's just kind of smiling like and then when I realized, oh, he's making it a pawn like in chess, I kind of popped a little bit. I thought that was kind of silly, but he brings out the hand crossbow, which +1 for Wyndham Earle. It's better than a real big one. I like the hand crossbow, kills him or whatever, because obviously that's a message that Wyndham Earle's going to send to everybody. But it made me sad because Leo, even though he was an asshole and a bastard and went through all sorts of stuff, and they teased him in the wheelchair for a long time, whether he was really out of it or not. Boy, talk about untapped potential with Leo being a badass in here, and he's just acting like young Frankenstein and not even funny or good. It's awful.
Really?
I think it's a trash scene. Leo deserves better. Justice for Leo, whatever you want to call it.
Leo has gone through a lot, and I think in this he's actually starting to shine. He's getting, you could say that how Shelley and Bobby treated his waste of life before in that wheelchair, that could be considered his punishment, sure. But as soon as he got up and dressed up as a clown and nearly killed,
not good. Just not good.
Okay,
not good at all.
But in this, he actually says no, because Wyndham Earl, he does get the crossbow out, but he wants the bolt from.
He's not supposed to turn into a hero.
It's not I don't think he's a hero now.
Are we supposed to like him?
But out of all the people in that room,
are we supposed to like him? Because Wyndham Earl's stupid. He's in no way intimidating. Then you got class clown guy they picked off who's so dumb, that it's easy, convenient writing. It'd have been better if you used Leo, frankly.
No. Leo is the one he's forcing to help him out. He's
right. But my point is
re-educating him. That's his goal. And Leo is starting to get himself back. And even though he has done horrible things, he recognizes what Wyndham Earl is doing is far worse.
We'll see. To me, it would have been better if he used him, and that would have really upped the ante and made us think, wow, this guy's legit. Because I tell you, the whole thing with the scene is it's not a horrible scene, but like I've said, they've never done a really great job of making Wyndham Earl seem like he's a good bad guy. Done well, as I should say. The next scene doesn't necessarily have a bad guy in it, but I think it's a stronger scene, and it's where the Twin Peaks judges are getting a conversation from Ben. Basically, he introduces himself, and he is almost back to the theme of what you're saying, Liam, going back to his old self. It applies here. Ben is basically almost back to his old self in a sense that he uses the whole environmentally sensitive nature of the ferret thingy, ghost weasel, whatever the hell it's called.
From the Pinewood Weasel, sir.
The Pinewood Weasel. I got to get this right.
Save the weasel.
Dude, the Pinewood. Well, they're like the Pinewood Derby. I got to think of that, like from when you're a Boy Scout. But it's if they've got the doctor, they've got Pete, and then they've got the old man married to Lana, and so it's neat to me because they're doing it. It's not at the Double R Diner. I don't know if this is the bunkhouse. I think. Because it's been a while since we've been there. It's got the wood there. And Shelly and Donna are there with Bobby at a table going over stuff. And you can tell she's looking upset at her dad because she knows something's going on with him and not telling her the truth about her mom and Ben. And even though they did not do it great, and we haven't seen a lot of it, in the same scene here, you get Bobby coming in, and Bobby, now that he's had his cherry popped, at least by the older lady. I'm trying to be Mike. I'm trying to make this sound professional here. I just think it's kind of neat to me because they could have went to a lot of different ways with it. They didn't do too much with it, but I liked how when they were in here going over stuff that was neat. Nadine, whatever her character was supposed to be, I thought she was going to be the only kind of like goofy person in here. She's done a great job, and for some reason, I don't mind seeing that too. But Bobby, he's asking Mike about, hey, what's it like? And he kind of tells her, and Bobby's just in full Bobby mode. So these guys, those characters all seem like their normal selves, which is what I've been wanting for a long time. They haven't been. So for me, that scene works. What's your take on it?
A lot about this scene I do actually like. You mentioned Ben before, and Ben, as he's explaining, I'm here as a friend. Why? Because as Miss Twin Peaks, this jiggle contest that we've run is dead, and now it's time for a modern competition for the Pine Weasel. It's to stop Ghostwood and save their environment. And Pete isn't buying this. He's not happy with this at all. But Dwayne and the doc kind of sold. They're like, okay, yeah, we can go ahead and support this. And when Mike comes in, and Nadine is also signing up for Miss Twin Peaks with, oh God, that poor audience.
The body's not that bad.
No, her body's not. No, but And it's no offense to the actress, but at the same time, looking at her face can be a little hard sometimes. But when Bobby asks, "What the hell are you doing?" and Mike whispers in, and Bobby shouts, "Wow! I knew you would be happy with this scene."
Just telling it like it is. The cougars out there make a man out of you, and the world goes round and round and never ends, but people don't like to talk about it. But definitely the case there. Yeah, and unfortunately, it's embarrassing because in this scene, Bobby and Nadine seem like the mature couple, because the next scene here, you get Catherine having a conversation with Truman, and before Pete walks in about the puzzle box, but he's whining about Josie and this and that. It's like, I don't care, shut up. And then Pete comes in there and he's realizing, hey, that's the puzzle box. Yeah. And then he accidentally drops it and it opens up and it's like,
That's
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of neat because it advanced something even though it was dumb. It's a quick scene, but the scene after that, we're back at that lake that we saw earlier. I think when Bobby was saying he was going to take off or whatever. It's a beautiful backdrop. And you see this forced romance upon us. It's very awkward. They have zero chemistry together. She
Disagree.
just there's none here at all. Even though they're moving really, really fast and they even kiss or whatever like that. And they're being watched, of course, by Wyndham Earle, who's dressed up as like a fly fisherman. He's an FBI guy. He knows profiling by this point in the mid to late 80s, early 90s. She's got those cut marks on her wrist, bro. You got to stay away from all that. You just got to know that. And she just babbles on about some stuff, and he just sits there smiling like he's 10 years old, popping a Woody for the first time. And I don't know you very well. Well, it doesn't matter. Let's kiss. And it doesn't work at all. But the backdrop of scenery is quite beautiful, nice. It's a nice little. We don't have that overcast, gloomy look, probably because this is filmed in, Big Bear Park or wherever it was in California, but still looks really, really good. And again, Wyndham Earle not menacing.
I don't know. I think we really disagree here because
yeah, we do.
Even if I would go ahead and say that fine, her delivery isn't great. Dale alone can carry their chemistry on his back. That's how I feel. And Earl watching from afar, this is going to lead to something. Even if you don't think he's intimidating at all, we've absolutely seen that he's able to sneak his way around the areas of Twin Peaks without even being noticed. There's been hints. Dale's had the spider senses in the back of his mind that, oh, maybe somebody's there at the diner and stuff like that. But Wyndham Earle, no matter what you want to say, whenever when push comes to shove, when he has to stealthily watch from afar or talk to someone without being noticed by his main enemy, he absolutely can do it. And I absolutely believe he can do it. Even though when he's himself again in that cabin, when he's free to let loose, he's crazy. When he goes into town, he knows what he has to do.
So the thing is with Annie is, even though we've seen her enough, and even though they're forcing this upon us as a viewer, she's a beautiful woman and all that, and you can believe they have chemistry. That's your take. I certainly don't believe it. The thing about her as a character, though, I'm watching this going, yeah, she was in a convent. She was a cutter. She blah blah blah. I'm already kind of spooked a little bit. She's not dislikable, but you keep her at an arm's distance. You keep her afar, trying to get to know her because she's got such a troubled background. So it's hard to feel like we're emotionally invested in her in a positive way where it could hurt Dale. Should and if, of course, Wyndham Earle looks like he may be planning on getting at Dale through Annie now, in addition to other people or whatever, and that's fine. But the point is Annie's not built up enough, I think, in my mind, for it to really matter what happens. Like, yeah, okay, you killed a troubled woman that Dale was just, trying to get a little something on. It's, again, that's another result where it doesn't work because Annie's not been built up enough. Part of that might be the delivery, like you say, I'm sure, but it's just not, whatever. Now, when Dick Tremaine shows up on the scene. We know he hosts a good party and he brings the levity into it because the wine tasting event for the Stop Ghostwood campaign is on. And this is where we see this little stupid stuff about Lucy and Andy's there trying to figure out all this wine stuff. This is a train wreck of a scene. It's not very good. It's great to see Tremaine trying to act, high society, like, and explain to people about how we take it, how we roll it around, how we spit it out, how we do this, that. Of course, I don't see any like grapes or cheese or other stuff they usually have with these things. It's a dumb scene, and it's meant to be dumb. I just don't care for it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And there's like what's the term? Sommelier. That's how they're doing it.
Oh yeah.
They taste it and then they spit it out, but Andy's like a dumbass, and so he goes ahead and he swallows it, even though I don't understand why you would go ahead and spit it out. I understand, it's the experience.
Well, it's to not ruin your taste palette and also not get drunk, especially when you're mixing different, concentrations of wine, which is alcohol and all that too. And it can affect, like I say, your palate, but that's why you have this stuff like your slices of apple or fruit or whatever. It's to cleanse it, So there's a legitimate reason to it. It's not frou-frou-y. They were just doing it wrong.
Yeah. But in this next scene, I actually do appreciate it because Gordon from the last episode, he's in a conversation talking to Shelley, and it seems you are right. He can really hear Shelley, and I didn't think that it was something like that. I thought he was making it up, but it seems that he's actually able to. But that's when Dale and Annie are coming in from their time on the lake, and Gordon now yelling, "Oh, why don't you come over here and join us?" And so they go ahead, and Gordon wants to say, even though he's leaving to Shelley, that she is absolutely stunning. Him being able to hear me so much, he needs a kiss before he leaves, and she obliges. And as they're kissing, that's when Bobby comes in.
It's on the lips too, bro.
Yeah, Bobby comes in, and the record scratches. Did you hear that? The record
I did. Scratches. Yeah, that's good.
As he asks what's going on, and Gordon says, "Haven't you ever seen two adults sharing a tender moment before? And you know what? It's going to happen again." And that's when he takes another kiss, and we see Bobby's horrified face.
I thought this scene was done all wrong. I really thought the scene had potential. I do, because I don't think this should have been a funny scene. We've had some levity with some of their characters, but in this one, the fact that he could hear her only without anybody else, I'm like, okay, then why do you have your phones plugged in? That should have been out. It would have been interesting. At least it would have been interesting if he could hear her without having to use them, which is what was the case. So show us that. And then when Dale comes in,
hear other people. So
exactly, but he's only with her one-on-one talking. He doesn't need to listen to other people. That would have been a reminder to us that's what's going on, and it would have added to something like, imagine him kind of yelling, "I don't know, Cooper, but something about this town makes me be able to hear. I'm going to have to stick around a while." I mean, we know that that's actually David Lynch making a cameo, so he's got his reason to do it. But halfway through the scene, I thought, is he trying to get Shelley to leave with him? Because if so, they, you could almost see the disgust Shelley had for Bobby and how she likes older men. Leo and Bobby, and Bobby's the same age. Leo's older. Maybe she would do it. She seems like the kind of one who would drop everything, has no whatever but bad experiences with town. And part of me goes cynically as an adult male going, "Hey, Lynch, did you have to do this, and get her on a casting couch? Because, it's like, why did you write this as a scene? I mean, I guess you wrote it to be funny, but it just doesn't really seem to do anything or capitalize on what they've built up to this point between these two." Does that make sense?
No, I understand what you're saying. At the same time,
Bobby would have punched him. Bobby punched him.
The thing is, he has to leave. He's not an agent of the FBI. He's a director, so he has to go back to the office. He has to go back to headquarters. He can't stick around in Twin Peaks for any more than he already has. He just came to reinstate Dale And so I understand the draw of wanting him to stick around because of this, but we only have what 3 episodes left in this season. So he has to go ahead and he has to go. And before he goes, one thing he wants is to kiss this beautiful woman that he's been able to hear clearly for the first time in Lord knows how long. And so when Bobby comes in and the record scratches, I know it is hilarious, but for Gordon, this is a big moment. He has to go. He has responsibilities, but he wants one thing, and she goes ahead and she gives it to him. I think it's really sweet.
If you're a woman, you don't kiss a guy on the mouth, period, unless it's an intimate relationship. Call me old school, call me prudish. Yeah, I love the ladies. I love all that stuff. Bobby would have been totally 100% his rights to knock him off his block. FBI guy, no matter what, Bobby, I don't know if he remembers or that he is. I guess so. I guess we could go back and figure out, but I'm not saying it's inappropriate. And I'm not, like I say, being prudish, but it's not a funny scene at all. It's not. You got 2 guys there, 40-ish, one maybe 50-ish, and they're both with women that are 21, maybe 19. I have no problems
Annie
with
isn't
it.
19.
Annie's
younger.
a few years older, but she's not even 25. Okay, she's young, and he made like age was an issue with Audrey, and we know that it's not. It's just piss poor writing, like I say, to take the whole teasing thing. They could have teased the whole thing with Audrey.
Well, let's be fair. Audrey is in high school. She's still in high school.
She's 18. She's a senior. She's getting ready to graduate. So she's 18.
So
she's 18. She's legal. She's interested. She's smart. She's funny. This one is a cutter. She's crazy. She's whatever. Shelly on this hand here is a loser. She probably got by on her looks. Obviously, the Twin Peaks thing she's going to be a part of it. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, she's obviously attracted to really bad guys. So here's an older guy that has got some danger around him, carries a gun. It's kind of a big deal. I could totally see those 2 running off. That would have been an interesting angle to take it. But yes, they made it to be a goofy scene, and if you think that worked for you, great. I looked at this and went, come on.
If
really?
She had run off with him, I would have thought that was taking it too far, but that's just me.
That's what Twin Peaks is supposed to do, and that's the whole point is that they got to a certain point where instead of doing something, they let off the gas. Like this whole wine tasting thing, because in this next scene, you get the continuation of Andy getting drunk. You get Dick Tremaine continuously getting more and more frustrated with what's going on. You know where this is going, right? So, of course, probably Lucy's whole angle to me is the worst of everything on the show. Yeah. She ends up spitting in Tremaine's face or whatever, and then they cut. And it's like, really? I mean, it's just ha ha ha, going for the yucks and all that, the lowbrow stuff. Nothing's elevated. No story is furthered on in here, and so really C-level characters like Nadine or something, or whatever, should be the ones doing that stuff for the most part too, because and that's a quick scene. The next scene after that, I think, is a great scene where Cooper's at the fireplace, and I'll let you take that.
You don't consider Lucy a C-level character?
She gets too much airtime. She got way too much airtime.
You're right, but she's definitely not. She's not B.
She's got way too much airtime. Way too much.
I agree with that.
It's a constant reminder. And they kind of really let off the angle, at least up to this point, about her and getting an abortion and playing these 2 guys against each other. Who's going to be her, baby daddy? It's a dumb, stupid angle.
No, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. I'm just saying she's not B level. Not to me. She gets too much airtime, but she's definitely C. Her plot is beyond C. It's the D plot that we're going to just ignore as much as we can. But, moving on from there, we get a moment with
Billy's Zane time. Go ahead.
Yeah. With Dale by the fire. He's drinking milk. And that's when Billy Zane, who we haven't seen this entire episode, comes up and says, how love is hell. And that's when they have a short conversation. Billy admits he is hooked to not Audrey. He doesn't say her name, but he is hooked. And Dale says he is too. But that's when a telegram for Wheeler here. He it says that he has to check out. And pretty much, he announces that he's checking out, and good luck to Dale. And that's that's the last we see of him this episode.
Yeah, this scene to me is actually pretty good because to me it was a little unexpected that these two guys would talk or have any reason to. I still don't know if I trust Billy Zane's character as far as what's going on and even why he's in here and what value is his character doing. Is he putting other people over or not? We just feel like he's involved in a scheme, at least I do. But it's nice, two guys talking in front of what appears to be a legitimate fire about their love lives, wrapped up in mysterious philosophical language, as guys are off to do when they're drinking. And the thing I have to say about Billy Zane, I know he's so young here, he's rocking the turtleneck and he gets a lot of grief stuff. His star was definitely rising by this point. He's got a very striking look about him too, where he's very pretty, and it's almost like an old world sort of roguishness to me about it. To me, he looked like he's somebody that could have been in movies like in the 30s or 40s or whatever, the way his face is built. And I don't mean that in a bad way. He's more pretty than handsome, I guess, in a boyish sort of way here too. And so he's got me curious about what's going to be happening here because you don't bring somebody in like him unless you're going to do something with him, unless it's a big giant non sequitur, which is possible here in Twin Peaks, or poor writing. And to your point, with only 3 episodes, I think it's left in the season, it's hard to say, okay, are we really going to get a sense of finality? I think on the bigger picture here, as we finish up with one last scene, I'll just say this. I think by now, Lynch knew that the whole season was going to get canceled because they kept moving the time slots. The ratings, I think the Gulf War is starting to go on and dominate a lot of primetime TV and everything. And in doing that, I think he came in at the end and tried to wrap things up in a way that he wanted to end up, him and Mark Frost, whereas they took the reins back on a lot of people. So hopefully we do get a sense of finality where a lot of these angles are going, because obviously it's going to be a very long time from here until season 3 in 2017 on Showtime, where he got involved and did, I think it was 18 episodes. He did do the movie a year after this TV show here to kind of, as a prequel, to show the events leading up to Laura, which I think goes back to the heart of what made Twin Peaks really fascinating. You know, oh my God, something really bad happened to the most popular girl in town. Let's just investigate the characters involved and see what happens. So yeah, it was a great scene and all that here, but I think we do finish off strong here with the home scene here. You want to go ahead and take it
with the home scene, because we do have Donna. She has a quick scene with her parents.
Yeah, that's the scene I'm talking about. I mean, there's one more technically, but yeah, take the next 2.
Yeah, well, we go by the waterfall. We see Donna at home with her dad and mom. And for some reason, and I'm sorry to go ahead and take a note, her sisters aren't there for dinner. This is stupid. She has 2 sisters. Where are they? But that aside, her parents are trying to avoid the conversations he's bringing up about Ben Horn leaving flowers mysterious flowers, and Ben Horn popping up the other day to talk with Donna's mom about just some charity, as her dad is bringing up. But Donna finally says she entered the Miss Twin Peaks contest. And she says she plans on using that money, if she wins, to go study overseas. I'm
going to hurt you both because you're lying to me about stuff. So I'm going to win the beauty pageant and leave you. I'm going to hurt you. It's so passive aggressive.
Well, she is a teenager, so
I know.
That's what you're supposed to expect. But the next scene is really the one to watch, because there's a small transition here with the moon and a man in a hood and an owl that flashes by. But that's when we go to a police car. Why? We're at a crime scene. In the gazebo from earlier, there's a box, and they think that it might be a bomb, but they're not sure. And so Dale goes ahead and he goes over and he uses some string, ties it to the handle of the box to the gazebo, and they back up, and he pulls. The box opens to reveal the pawn with Ted Raimi's face. It's so stupid, but
it is stupid.
That's his death face. But there's a note there saying, next time, it will be someone you know.
Yeah. You keep talking. You keep talking. It's no, it's a lame way to end. It's yeah, I didn't think it was a good ending. I kind of liked what he's doing in this stupid sort of way, but it's not supposed to be stupid. It's supposed to be scary, and uh, it just didn't work for me.
I get why you're laughing.
Lame.
Yes, yeah, it's not the best of endings, but I think that it being some random stranger just killed off right there. I think that is supposed to be part of the point. So
There's no payoff unless it's somebody you know, so it's weak, it's lame. Yeah, so I mean, you brought up a good point there too about 3 episodes left, and again, going back to as we finish up here, just I'm really curious to see how they're going to do it because this, whether we like certain scenes or not, we agreed on most of them, not all of them. I do think that did have a sense of energy to it, that they were going somewhere in most of the scenes, even the goofy, stupid ones. So I felt like it was quick in the sense that there was a lot more going on than some episodes seemed like they were dragging ass. So I appreciate that. And all of a sudden it makes it feel like we're drawn into some sort of mystery again here with the cave and what's going on. And so I'm curious, we'll see how this finishes out in the next 3 episodes. I know you've not seen it. We've had a lot of people listening to our show here, so it's really interesting that it's gotten some legs over the past couple months doing it. I'm looking forward to doing the movie and everything else there too, maybe even some crossover. But overall, I will say this: it was a good episode that was great in some parts, despite some dud scenes. I think it was actually a fairly strong episode. What's your final take?
Wow. Okay, I'm surprised that that's your final take because I think
strength of the performances of some of the actors is why.
I think it's a good episode too, and I have high hopes for the next episode.
Oh, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Season 2, Episode 19, Twin Peaks, the ABC show. I'm your host, Rob, here with Professor Pixel. Join us again next week when we do Season 2, Episode 20, as we finish up the last 3 episodes here of the next 3 weeks before we go on to Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. What the hell is that all about? But boy, I will tell you this now, Pixel, when that came out, people did not like it, did not get it, thought it was weird, and it was a thing of the times, which we'll talk about next week on Twin Peaks. For Pixel and everybody here, guys, have a good night. As always, stay extreme. Good night.
Xtreme.